Hello and welcome to Carving Out the Path. I'm going to wait one more minute for our attendees to join. Hello and welcome to Carving Out the Path. I am your host, Dr. Neva Alexander. I am the CEO of Neva Alliance, and Neva Alliance is an educational company that basically provides knowledge through different medium. To learn more about us, you can visit the website at Neva Alliance. And if you're interested in any certification program, professional development, test prep, please send us an email at info@nevaalliance.com. I'm always extremely excited to do these webinars because I get to hear from some incredible experts. And today is just the same. I call her Dr. G, Dr. Corinne Graham. And again, her topic is carving out the path. Now, Dr. G is the president of Graham International Consulting and Research Incorporated. And she's also has another company called Designs by Dr. G. It is a New York State certified minority woman business enterprise. And Dr. G has been recognized in 2018 by Small Business Services for 2018 and 2019 Woman Entrepreneur New York City. She's also involved in mentorship roles, which I'm very familiar with, and doing an extraordinary job. She's been recognized by Long Island Business News for the top 50 most influential women in businesses. She's received a Diversity in Business Award. She's also a philanthropist. I mean, her recognitions go way beyond. She's appeared in Huffington Post. She's appeared on the news. She's been in a Newsday on CBS 1010 Win. Her credentials is top notch. And I would love to welcome Dr. G.
Wow. Are you sure you're talking about the same person?
I am
definitely. Where'd you get all that bio stuff from? Anyway, thanks for the invite. I'm glad to be a part of it and, continue doing great work. This is something I think more than if there's ever a time, there's always a time, but with the current crisis we find on planet Earth, talking about something about carving out one's path. It's nothing where it's fancy and not things that we've done, but it's something where you have to help people to kind of guide that possibility. It's kind of the tagline for our company too. I don't use it a lot, where it's transforming vision, guiding the possibilities. The possibilities are always mindless. And part of the other thing we talk about, I always like to start with is, two quotes. You'll find them a lot of places because I use them a lot. Is the only limits are always those of vision, and if you don't risk anything, you risk even more. That sums it up in a nutshell. There's a book when I prepped a couple of my leadership classes or programs that I've done that I would recommend for a lot of individuals who haven't read it. The ebook can get it as well, or get it from the library for free with one of the audiobook is Staring by Starlight by Martha Beck. And I think in this current period we find ourselves, as we're going to navigate, whether as employees or entrepreneurs, I think that's a good little book to kind of motivate and incentivize us. So I don't know, I like to do Q&As about things that I'm talking about in general, and we'll take questions. I don't do presentations, so to speak, so we can, tell me how you want to proceed. But thanks for the invite, and I'm looking forward to sharing a couple of things that I think will help to charter the course ahead.
Okay, Doc. So can you tell me a little bit about carving out the path? What exactly is behind the name?
So if you think about it, when you were 8, what was it that you wanted to be? let's, if you can remember 8 or think about 15 or something like that, or 13, what is it that you want it to be?
Okay, so when I was 8, what exactly do I want it to be?
Yeah, one thing. It could be a couple of things, just one thing.
Well, personally for myself, and guys, if you wish to participate in our webinar, please drop your statement or question in the chat or Q&A. All right, so you can just type it out, and Dr. G will definitely answer your question. So as far as when I was 8 years of age, I just knew I wanted to be successful. I didn't really look at, oh, I want to be a lawyer, doctor, or something. I just knew that I wanted to be recognized.
Okay. Yeah. So how did that transform in terms of your pathway to date? How do you see that?
So how it is, so as far as where I'm at right now, yes, I've definitely, I guess, carved out the path for myself, in the sense where I have, I went my first degree, John Jay College of Criminal Justice. I studied legal studies, and I just knew it. In order for me to be successful, I had to complete college. That was the thought process, or that was embedded in me. After that, I went to do my master's in social science, and then my doctorate is in educational leadership. Based on my background, getting a degree identify, or just say that describes success. So that's what I've done, other than, traveling and doing, training outside the country, been, to the Middle East, and some of these stuff, honestly, it wasn't like I planned, oh, I wanted to be in the Middle East, but it just kind of happened. And so I made myself available for success. I opened my mind for success to happen.
Okay. So when we think about just in general, everything that we know, one of the things I always, and I've learned, is we've heard it often enough: image is everything, right? And we take it for granted. It's a very simple, straightforward statement. It can mean many different things. I've also heard in later years, we eat with our eyes. Now, this is not to say if you have any other sensories, such as for some individual, if they're blind, it may be feeling, touch, or just scent and smell, different things. For most of us, we do. When you look at marketing, you think about anything and everything that you're doing. What is the sensory? A picture is worth 1,000 words, right? What gets you to buy? Right? So
yes,
when you look at that, we are just mindless about, as we are maturing past whatever, from we're born till when we get to the point where we have some sort of actualization, you are always working on that. And part of it is learning how to pivot, especially in times of crisis. So here is something that a lot of us take for granted. As we talk about image is everything, first impression happens in the first 7 seconds. Give or take, people may say a little less or so on, right? 7 seconds is a lot of time. And when we're trying to think about how we're pitching and how we're presenting ourselves and how we want to be received, we have to be mindful of that. Most of it happens in the first 55, 55% based on actually how you look and how you act, right? This is significant. Then you have based on the sound and tone of your voice, and only 7% based on what you actually have to say. So as you're carving out your path and you're looking to see what is next and what are the things you're looking to do in life, and what does that success look like or mean to you, it is important for you to then actually build around that. Everyone's success is relative. If I want to carve out a path, I'm going to use Bill Gates because his name has been in the news a lot. Has he reached his self-actualization? For some people, they'll say yes. And he has. But if you reach your self-actualization, you can't plateau. There's something else that you need to do, right? You start all over again, whichever that way. So part of the self-actualization for many of us may be, financial wealth or well-being, or it may be health. Whatever it is that looks like for us. And you have to then decide who it is that you want to be along that journey with you to be able to ensure that success, as you said, part of your success, and you know what that meant based on environmental things that you learned, was going to school was a good thing. Part of carving out my path for my success had to do with that continuing education, because I didn't want to be, and I was perceived as, just that typical thing. It may be negative to some or so on, depending on the circle you're looking at. Another pretty face, that's smart, but then you don't have the credentials behind you. And then guess what? You then have to go and work towards that. So you have to ensure that there are other folks in your circles that help you to get to that point. Is there any questions up there as yet?
No, not as yet. So, but beyond continuing education to, for your success, is there anything else that you looked at, age 8? What do you want? What did you see as success at that age? What do you want it to be?
So for me, there is one thing that there's a couple of things, but the one that stood out for me was when I was younger, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a general surgeon. I had no idea what being a doctor or being a general surgeon was. Some folks may have heard me share the story where I talked about, how I finally realized why that thought may have come to my mind. And that was because my grandmother by my dad's side smoked. And on one of the package of the boxes that she would use when, family member would bring it for her and we'd give it to her and stuff like that, had that general surgeon warning. And I believe it was in bright red, so you could see, right? The visual was there. So, I guess that made an impression, but that's something that I wanted to do. I wasn't sure what that looked like, and I chased the sciences to be able to get to that point. Another thing I was thinking of today as I was getting ready for this was a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, and was not negative, but at the same time, I never asked any question to it, was based on the environment that we were in, and I wasn't going to pick someone to get married to that they were sending me, or introducing me to, that had wealth and all the fame and that sort of stuff. That just wasn't me. I had said, I'm going to be stuck where I was and will never get out. And I couldn't imagine what that meant. But all along, part of my success with carving out my path was surrounding myself with individuals who were successful. For example, I can't tell someone how to get rich quick. I don't know it. I don't know it because no one around me that has. I have people who have their successful career, family, and wealth. None of them have ever shared or said that they got this, lucky break and or did something in the get rich quick. I have folks that I know of, but they're not a part of my circle that allows me to be who I am, right? Or to do the things that it is. So that's part of how my journey started. It's always wanting to learn and to know as much as I can to make me a better person so that I can add value. I am always in building my transferable skills. And that's a part of also carving out your path. What's going on today? How are you going to what's the next job opportunity? What is the next contract that you can be a part of? How are you preparing yourself to be able to get to that next level? And that's how you're part of how you carve your path out, right? The people who you need to be in that circle. It doesn't matter what it is. I think even when we think about the recent movie, I guess with those ladies in Hidden Figures, right? They had to carve out what their role was, right? To get to where it is so that all of us could benefit from what it is today.
Thank you so much. There's someone that raised their hand, Betty, right? I'm going to unmute that she can ask her question. Betty?
Okay.
Just bear with me, unmute. click on mute.
Mhm. So sometimes I guess like I've had the hiccups of either muting, maybe she was just waving, or maybe she wanted to type her question in. So then this way, if she's not able to we can't get the microphone, it's part of that working to look at that. So now some
Okay,
of the
she typed it
challenges.
out. Yeah, she typed it out. So, Dr. G, you mentioned self-actualization. Please elaborate. Also, when a child is reared in a negative environment and without parents, how can she or he can pursue, the right path?
All right. So let's take the first part. I guess. So we can think about let's use the Oprahs of the world. I used Bill Gates before, or the Warren Buffetts of the world. I use Bill Gates because he's out there with a number of different things, and he has a couple of things that I guess that are not necessarily positive that's going against him, but it doesn't matter. I look at someone who's built Microsoft from where it is where they started. When you think about technology, when they started to where it is today, they're a part of that. And prior to them, there were others that start and lay that foundation. When Bill retired out of, his C-suite, what did he went on to do? He started his next path, his next self-actualization, the Maslow hierarchy of need, where you want to be. We're all striving for that self-actualization. And some of us will get there, will take our entire lifetime. And few of us will have an opportunity to do that maybe 2 or 3 times, right? He is now on a path where it is that he's looking to either advance, what is happening for the human race or other nations. That can be looked at again. I know people talk about it, there are negative components to it, but he's a philanthropist. That's mostly what he spends most of his wealth on doing, research and giving back, whichever way it is. So that means after he achieved the goal of having his family and having his financial success, he then went on to something else, right? So that's where it is for me in my journey. My self-actualization I'm hoping that will continue to the point where after I have whatever those successes are for me, whatever part of the journey, I have a number of things I want to achieve. I am living part of my self-actualization, but not fully, right? So I'm still in that moment of where I want to be. I want to be, I say this often, and maybe in a way that I'm being a little silly, or I guess, is I want to be a multi-billionaire, right? But if that never comes, I know it's not the end of the world. I'm also wanting to help to change or to charter the course or help to carve out the path for others. So that takes us into the other part of the question. How do you do it? And I think you have to become part of what I do is I give back. My give back is to the community, and nothing is too great or too small as long as I'm able to, right? It's my job. I don't ever hear, you've heard this, people mirror behavior without you looking at it. And we go back to images, everything, right? So if you want to send a positive message to anyone, you have to kind of live that out to show them that there are opportunities for them. One of the things I do is when I go to, for example, the schools, I will do career fairs and I ask for questions. I don't want to go in and share with them the same things. Most of the times they've not heard what you're sharing, but I give them an opportunity to ask me questions and put it in an environment where when someone can say, I want to achieve all of this, but I have an environment where I'm told I am not enough, or, you'll never amount to anything. You're stupid for thinking this or for doing that. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to take ourselves. We're in a period of storytelling. So you have to, as you're carving out your own path, you have to make sure that you're leaving a pathway and that you're also helping others to see it so that they have something to follow. They may not follow exactly the same. If I want to be Oprah, my pathway is not going to be exactly the same, but I can see the things that were how she did it and so on to ensure the successes. Hopefully I answer the question.
Thank you, Dr.
Still,
Jimmy. I believe Betty is on mute. I think on her section she was mute. I just would like to say, if anyone want to ask any question, it is okay. You're not going to be on video. It's just audio. So just in case, don't worry. So Betty, can you hear me?
Hey,
Hello. Yes. Hi.
hi, can you hear me okay? I'm sorry, I was multitasking.
Okay, not a problem. Did she answer your question? And do you want to ask something else?
Yes, she did. I think that from my perspective, in just serving and helping communities, one of the hardest challenges I hear, especially women, is that we have a lot of barriers that we have to overcome, both socially, culturally, and sometimes personally. And so the ultimate self-actualization in terms of the highest form of oneself, reaching that pinnacle or that level, it seems insurmountable, or it seems like it's just a, a, a mountain that's not attainable. But based on Dr. Corinne's comments, they are your goals and your objectives are attainable. Your vision can be realized. It's as she said, creating a path, taking steps to get to, because that's what a pathway is. It's steps. You follow the path and you get there. So yes, and I appreciate that.
thank you,
Thank you.
Betty.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to mute Betty at this time.
Yeah, so Betty hit a nail on, and I think one of one of our product line for Dr. G's is designed by Dr. G, has a couple of different logos, and one is perfection is your best you. You're always working on self. If I think for a moment that I have that I'm 40 or 35 or 25 and I have made it and I've done all the good I have in the world, life will show me that that's not true. So therefore, we're constantly on a journey, and we're always constantly having to carve out the pathway. Like, for example, now some of the challenge for some people is inability to fund retirement. So think about just what just happened with this recent pandemic, and for people who are retiring or have retired right in this little pickle, starting a new career, because that's what's going to happen with a lot of other individuals, returning to school or becoming an entrepreneur. You have to plan, and you have to get folks around you. If you don't say to them, if I don't say to Betty or to Neva or anyone on the call that I'm familiar with, listen, this is what's happening. Let's see, what are some, and it's suggestions and it's recommendations. And we can't beat ourselves up. We're very good at it, right? It's okay to do the negative to help to push us. But I think it's also always surrounding yourself with individuals who are always going to, I use this, it's going to sound cliche all the time, that upgrades you. I am a religious person. I'm Christian. And for me, my go-to is the Bible. And I read the Proverbs every day, because it's something that gives me a picture. It's a storybook for me that gives me a picture of people's lives, what they're going through, and also for me to always be humble so that I'm always learning and always on task. Did you have another question for me before I go on to a couple
Yes,
more
definitely. There's
things?
a question from Mary. I know Mary is logging in from Kenya. And her question is, what can you say about procrastination and how it affects one's success, especially when one is clear about what they want to achieve, yet you're not progressing as you would want?
So, hi, Mary, and thanks for joining all the way from Kenya. How exciting. I think we're all guilty, whether or not we want to, no matter how much we want to, I guess, admit to it, we procrastinate. And I think the thing to help with procrastination is planning and continually doing. I procrastinate. And I procrastinate when I have a couple of things that are not really coming together, or the team's not pulling what they need to together. I find that for me, it's just refocusing on one task at a time. And even if it's taking the smallest, one of the things when they tell you when you're doing problems, take the easiest task and take it off your list. Because if it seems like it's a mountain or an elephant that you have to deal with, that's kind of the only way that you're going to do it. And you have to have a strategy for that. And I think always find things, if you're a little idle and your mind's not there, find the things that motivate or incentivize you. For me, sometimes, for a lot of the times too, outside of reading, as I said, with the Bible, or, you know, doing research and always like looking out there for additional information, so I'm learning, is dancing and listening to music. It doesn't matter what it is, because even in that moment, I'm thinking, I'm listening to words of songs that I never knew the words before, and thinking about what that means. So I think procrastination is not a negative thing. Some of my best work, when people would say it's part of being creative, is somewhat procrastinating. I don't want to give something that is not worthwhile, or it's not going to live up to a brand that I want. So I think having some structure and being somewhat organized does help. And pick one little fruit at a time, so that you're taking off things off your list, and be excited about that. And just look at things that will help to re-energize you. If it's talking to someone, or, you know, just going out to coffee, just make a time to kind of build back, because sometimes that encouragement helps.
Hey,
Hopefully I answered that question.
Yes, and there's a saying, Dr. G, I don't know if you know it, it says procrastination is the assassination to motivation, right? So whenever I feel the need to procrastinate at all, I just think about that, you know, and just keep moving. Another question I have for you, Dr. G, since we have individuals from different parts of the world logging in, carving out a path. Sometimes a little, do you think it's a little easier carving out a path in a first world versus a third world? What are your thoughts?
That's a really big question for me. So I'm not even sure how we're going to answer that. But I think again, here was what I was going to say next, and I'll read that out. Imagine rules for some strategies for success. Imagine you're going to have to make the case for yourself regarding the development that you need. How would you convince yourself to do it? So this doesn't matter where you are, right? Because whatever environment you present yourself in, if you go back to when I said when you were 8, what was it you were so passionate about? That's before you started to be skewed in terms of, you know what, accounting is making lots of money, and everybody's saying, yeah, they're looking for women, or they're looking for minority males to go into this field. Right now, it's coding, right? Where they're pushing a lot of this because there's a need for certain things. How are you going to use what it is that is your gift that you're really great at? How do you build up that transferable skill to be different? I've seen individuals, I'm going to use a case in Jamaica recently when we were talking. People are always sharing about, like, you know, especially with this pandemic, something has happened. The economy started to pick up. People were getting jobs. That's open for debate. It's not a debate here. And then one of the gentlemen, it's 2 of them, that in October I did a sustainability workshop for the University of the West Indies, talking about using renewables and how there are opportunities there. And you saw lots of young people who were actually making business, and they were successful despite the odds of what's going on. And here this gentleman partnered with someone else, and now they have the opportunity to make these what do you call it, the breathing tube that they need, right? The respirators and stuff. That's a huge opportunity. What else can you do? So I think if you make the case for yourself, regardless of where it is that you are, it will be useful. So I think one of the difference for me, having experienced both first, I guess, third world or fourth world or peripheral economies, is I think we have a little bit of luxury when it comes to access to the law. right? We don't always have that even in first world countries, but you have the ability to say that, you know what, you can sue for something, or you have a right, and if you have the funds, or not just the funds, if you network, you can build relationship where you can ask people these questions. Listen, this happened, it's a really bad thing, how do I solve it? So I think that helps a lot for me, because it gives me a little bit more opportunity that I do have a say, and that my safety does matter. I think a lot of times safety becomes an issue in developing countries with what individuals are doing. But I think you can be successful anywhere. You just have to know what that means, and vary what it is that you're looking to do, and find mentors. I think indirectly, I had mentors when I was growing up that helped to carve, as I was carving out my path. And the type of mentors it were people who were in business for themselves, or C-suite executive. So I started to vary my learning as I was going along before coming, moving to the US and having that, another set of opportunities. And, I think you have to look at it that way. Hopefully, I answered the question a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. G. And I've got an email question.
Okay.
And the question basically, it surrounds funding. Mm-hmm. So the question is, we carve out your path, but in the business setting, in order for you to kind of grow your business, you need funding. In your experience, what are some of the things that can assist in the growth when it revolves around funding?
So I think, again, you have to network. If you're not out there getting to meet or know people, how are you going to grow your business? That's where the opportunity. Someone might like what you're doing and might be able to help you. Now we have these GoFundMe and crowdfunding and all different sorts of things, but you have to be able to go out and do it. That's a whole nother session. I think you've had a couple of webinars that talks a little bit about that. You have to make sure your business, you have, the brand, what is a product, what service you're offering, and it has to be on point. As someone who's worked with pitch decks and sat in front and presented to investors, it is not easy, and you can keep going. It's the same thing. You have to pitch your business until you find the right match. Another way to do that is family and friends, and find those little angel investors that will buy into it. But you have to have something. Make a marketing plan before you get a business plan. Develop that. Make sure it is where it is you can go out and you can make the argument for why this is important and what value it adds. Remember, again, if I went back to first impression, if you're making a sales pitch, we eat with our eyes. And if we don't have vision, right? The only limits are always those of vision. You have to be able to look at those. And if I can't see, maybe I'm good at listening or feeling or sensing certain things, whatever that may be. And that helps you to be able to go out and pitch. If someone's going to come to me, I have to learn as an individual who probably, will be sorry or sad to see bad things happening. Lots of us are that way. I have to be able to say, I don't have the resources to give to everyone. I do want to, and I would like to. But part of it is I have to make the case. Why buy Designs by Dr. G when I'm doing my fundraisers products, right? It's because it's not only a healthier option, but it also goes to a charity. And then I open it where I say, okay, you know what? Any charity, any part of the world, if you buy stuff from there, you will get up to 10% of whatever that purchase is. So to make sure that at least I don't feel guilted into doing things. You have to make the case. You have to become that person that they're looking for to say, you know what? I like what this person is doing, or I like their determination or so on, and let me help them to maybe find that investor or a couple of investors. So it is definitely possible, and I think it's just work. And you have to plan for it. You have to strategize. What does it look like? Do your research and pound the pavement.
Thank you
market,
so
network.
much. Thank you so much, Dr. Jane. I definitely agree with you, especially in the part where, with networking. If it wasn't for networking, I wouldn't have met you and, some great individuals. And it's just, you never know, that person might not be able to assist you, but they might know someone that can. So I know, in a sense, the question, funding is not exactly the easiest thing, especially during a time like this. However, you have to find your resources. At this time, I do not see any more questions, but I do want to thank all of the attendees on the call. We greatly appreciate your time and effort. And Dr. G, thank you for imparting such great knowledge and giving us your expertise at nothing. And, means a lot to us, and especially me. Right?
Thank you.
So,
I was glad to be here.
thank you. At this time, thank you guys. Until next time, you'll receive an email after this and with Dr. G's information. Thank you and have a great day or night.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, we're going to give this a few seconds and then I will begin the intro. Welcome, welcome. Just one more second and then, or 2 more seconds, and then I'll begin speaking. All right, welcome everyone. I am Dr. Neva, the CEO of Neva Alliance, and welcome to another knowledgeable platform where we share information on our webinar series. Today, as usual, I'm super excited about the experts that I'm able to get to speak on different topics on our webinar series. Now, today's topic is just, I think, resonate right across the board in different industries. It's called How to Differentiate, Increase Revenue Through Customer Satisfaction in a Time of Crisis. And this will be presented by Christopher Bryan. Now, Christopher Bryan is an expert in his own right, and he's an entrepreneur, a quality engineer, and he's on a mission to transform the brand of customer satisfaction delivered by small businesses. He has developed customer satisfaction system designed to move any business owner from a mindset of survival to an exploration of how meeting your customer needs will transform your business. He has a mechanical engineering degree, and he also has a Six Sigma Green Belt certification. He currently works at Estee Lauder Companies, where he's a manufacturing quality engineer and managing different groups in the US, Canada, and Europe. He's going to tell you more about that. And I also want to plug that he has an upcoming book. It's called Building Better Communities Through Customer Service. I would like to welcome Chris, the father of 1 son and 1 daughter. Welcome.
Right. Good afternoon. All right, let me just make sure. Can you see my screen?
I definitely can.
All right. So, thank you so much, Dr. Neva, for allowing me to have this conversation with you and your audience. And I hope everybody's doing well in these challenging times. And I want to take a few minutes to share, how do you differentiate and increase revenue in your business through customer satisfaction, even in times of crisis? So, in times of crisis, people kind of automatically revert back to their basic needs, starting with their basic physiological needs of food, water, air, etc., then safety, and then progressing to other basic human needs. And I found it interesting that during this pandemic, people, once they realized they were going to be quarantined for some time, right, they ran out and they bought up all of the toilet paper, right? And I found it fascinating that toilet paper all of a sudden became this scarce commodity. But I think it's because people were looking to preserve their, their way of life. And I guess they thought that being quarantined and not having enough toilet paper was a scary thing. And, but it just speaks that, people depend on businesses to supply these goods and service that satisfy their basic needs to secure themselves and their families and their way of life. And a business that's focused on providing customers with these goods and services obviously can stand to be very profitable, right? But it's one thing to sell a product or a service to a customer, but it's another thing to really focus on the needs of that customer, because that business over the long term can become a part of the fabric of society and of the community. A great example is, let's say Procter & Gamble. They make Jiffy peanut butter and they make Clorox wipes. Where I live, you couldn't find those things on the shelf because people wanted to revert back to those things that made them feel comfortable and safe. So during these times of crisis, the formula for success in life and in business, I really don't think it changes much. What really happens, it becomes even more important to differentiate yourself and your business by really focusing on the basic needs of your customers and making sure that you have a well thought out plan to satisfy those customers. So what I want to discuss today is really 3 key elements of developing a customer satisfaction plan. Okay, give me a sec. Hang on. All right, there we go. So, businesses often give lip service by saying statements like, we value our customers. And, you could probably guess the one that people say the most, the customer is always right. And while these things sound great, but rarely do they have a well thought out process or a way to train and manage employees to administer customer service, or they don't have a way to control the various other aspects of customer satisfaction. During this COVID-19 pandemic, what's really happened, it's changed the customer journey. And as a result, it has shifted customers' expectations in almost every single industry. And, because of the threat of the virus spreading, because of close contact with other people, many industries are either shut down right now. And in order for them to really come back, they're going to have to really rethink how can they operate with their employees and their customers, implementing social distancing, but also customers are becoming more discerning with what businesses they patronize, due to health concern and also as the economy and the impact of this crisis really hits home, consumers are going to be more discerning as to where they spend their hard-earned dollars. So, I say that it's even more key during this time of crisis that customer satisfaction and a focus on the customer's needs is every business takes a look at it and develops a real plan to make sure they're satisfying their customers. Now, what I want to really get home during this webinar is some key elements of creating or developing a customer satisfaction plan. Just a little quick background, and I'll go through these quick because Dr. Neva mentioned some of these things already. But, I've spent the last 20 years in manufacturing, quality engineering, and management, helping companies develop and execute plans to ensure their customers receive products that meet their expectations. I've worked with dozens of manufacturers across the US, Canada, Europe, in ensuring that they have systems and processes to meet not only regulatory guidelines, but also their customers' needs. So now, with this being my background, it really disturbed me when I would go into businesses in my neighborhood and I would get poor customer service. And especially being Jamaican, this would really bother me when I would go into a restaurant and that was supposed to represent my culture, but I would get, extra added, like a side of attitude, on top of what I ordered. So, that was the kind of the spark for me. I knew that if I could take some of the basic principles that I had used to help make millions for large manufacturing companies, right? If I could take some of the thought processes that I had learned there and take it and help people and businesses in my community to better serve their customers, to be more successful over time, and to be a service to their community, I knew that that could have a big impact. So that led me to developing my business, Customer Satisfaction Services, where I provide services and products that help businesses to guarantee the satisfaction of their customers, and also to help that business to thrive and become a cornerstone of the community. So, as my slogan, my business says, customer satisfaction is not only your promise, it is your business. It's the basic backbone, but you can't just say it. You have to have some action behind it. And personal goal of mine is really to help raise the level of customer satisfaction for Jamaican-owned businesses, but also small businesses. I have a passion for small businesses because in any community throughout the world, really, small businesses are really the economic engine that drives that community. They hire the most people, and without those small businesses are the ones that are there in the good or the bad times. And as Dr. Neva mentioned already, that I'm writing a book titled Building Better Communities Through Customer Satisfaction. So a couple quick ground rules. When I say the word customer, think of it broadly. A customer is if you're providing a good or a service, whether you're a teacher, let's say, right, your student is your customer. Or if you're a real estate agent and someone's looking to buy their first home, that's your customer. So think of it broadly, because I think it applies, and having this thought process of identifying issues in your business and coming up with a plan to solve them applies across the board. So when I talk about customers, I'm talking about it broadly. And another thing is that, you can't build a sustainable business with a shaky product or service. So let's acknowledge that up front. So I'm not talking about the product, I'm not talking about the product specifically, like the way the food tastes or so on. I'm talking about all of the other elements of customer satisfaction that you also need to be focused on. So let's talk about it, the key steps in developing a plan to satisfy your customers. Now, the first thing is you really have to empathize with the customer's journey. They say that you never get a second chance to make a first impression, right? First impressions are very important, and a customer's loyalty is built from that very first interaction that customer has with your business, whether it's them simply calling up to find out your hours, or going onto your website, or walking through that door for the first time, right? Every little thing that they experience the very first time is key in them making the decision, am I going to come back to this place or not? They may subconsciously, they're making that decision from the very first time that they walk in. So as you set up your business or redesign it, you really need to look at every detail and every touch point from the vantage point of the customer. So the first thing that you really need to do in order to develop a comprehensive customer satisfaction plan is to do that. Walk through your business from the customer's vantage point, whether it's physically or virtually, but with the customer in mind. Just look at each place, each opportunity that you're going to interact with that customer. And, let's say if you're a restaurant owner and, the customer walks in the front door, is the spacing that they have to eat or to order food, is there enough space? The bathroom, is the position of the bathroom optimal? Is there enough space in the place? The location of the restaurant itself, is it located somewhere that's easily accessible? All these are little things that, we need to either think about in advance or rethink them and make sure that they're appealing to the customer in the first place. So that's step number one. Let me tell you about my dirty laundry for a little bit. So I take my clothes to the laundromat, the place that I live at, right? I don't have a washer and a dryer. So there's a laundromat not too far. It's very convenient, and I could take my clothes there. I hate spending hours and hours washing clothes. I hate folding clothes. From I was a kid, I hated folding clothes, right? And the $20 that it cost me to drop off a load, I could take my clothes there up until midnight. Sometimes they're open. The staff was very friendly. There were all these benefits that, I said, you know what? I started dropping my clothes off at this laundromat. So I was doing this for a couple of weeks. And then I noticed as I unpacked my clothes that there was a pair of pants that didn't look like my pants. So I asked my son, Alec, is this your pants? And what he said, no. What we realized is that they had mixed in somebody else's clothes with my laundry. So, okay, I went to the laundromat. I talked to the owner. He assured me, I'm sorry, this will never happen again. So I was, okay, I'll give him another chance. So a couple weeks went by. I had dirty clothes again. I went to wash. I come back home and I unpacked my clothes and I found somebody else's underwear in my clothes. I almost lost it. I was like, no, this is not happening. I'm out. I'm never going back to this place. So, in this example, this business owner obviously had not thought of or walked through the process of picking up clothes and all the other touch points with his customers, right, to see where things can go wrong. Obviously they had no system in place to satisfy one of my basic needs of getting my clothes clean without getting somebody else's underwear, right? That's a basic need of mine. So again, the first step in creating a customer satisfaction plan is knowing and understanding and walking through the processes in your business from the vantage point of the customer, okay? Now, the next thing is once you're doing that, look for the problems, look for the potential areas where something can go wrong. By acknowledging the various interactions and where your employees and your staff can interact with customers and seeing where, okay, I see, or even the complaints that you get. Looking at these areas, what you want to do is identify the issues, the actual issues that happen along the customer's journey. And, things happen and this is real life. So things are going to happen and you're going to have complaints. The question is, what are you going to do about it? And so once you've identified these issues, really now is, you have to put in place fixes, solutions to prevent these problems from happening in the first place. A customer satisfaction plan is a part of your business plan, really, that you need to build it in and then train your staff so that they can now implement and execute these fixes that you've put in place. And it's at that point, then you could say that you really have a customer satisfaction plan. Now, in this example of my dirty laundry again, obviously this business owner, he had not taken the time to identify that this could happen. I don't know his business, but if it was me, and I would be looking at, okay, how does he you collect my clothes, I have it in a container, a bag or something, I give it to you, you go to wash, you go to dry, you go to fold. How are you preventing my clothes from being mixed in with other people's clothes? I mean, I would hope they're not purposefully washing my clothes with other people's clothes or drying my clothes with other people's clothes. I don't know, but I'm not going there anymore anyway. So my point is that in that example, though, you want to walk through the business, know what's important to the customer, identify the areas where it can go wrong, and then implement a fix to prevent it from happening. And in those areas where things happen and you know that you're gonna have something happen, then how do you recover from an issue that happens in your business? How do you either provide a reimbursement or a rewards process or so on? So these are all elements of a customer satisfaction plan. So, once you've identified the primary needs of your customer, and you've identified the areas of the business where things could potentially go wrong, and you've developed systems or processes to prevent them from happening, now you have the basic elements of a plan to guarantee the satisfaction of your customers. And as you bring these points together into a customer satisfaction plan, now you can build a blueprint that you can write into your company policies and your culture, right? And you can now train your employees and empower them, really, because now they know how to solve things before they even happen. And if they do happen, they know what to do to take care of that customer, because the whole bottom line is you want that customer, regardless of the experience they have, even if something does go wrong, how do I recover? How do I regain that customer? And that's all a part of your plan. It's really at this point that customer satisfaction becomes controllable to you as the business owner. And once it's controllable and you can basically, that every customer you bring in is going to be staying with you, and they're going to go, more importantly, they're going to be repeating, singing your praises and not doing what I did, right? I was talking negatively about the laundromat. No, they're going to be singing your praises and referring and telling people to come and use you. And that's what you want. And when you have that over time, you have a sustainable business that's going to grow. And, and I really see customer satisfaction linked. It's proven that customer satisfaction is linked to business success and longevity. And when you have small businesses that are successful in the community, they're able to hire people, right? They're paying taxes, and they're able to be a staple place in the community where people can go to their goods and services, especially in times of crisis. There's a couple of restaurants that I know that during this COVID-19 pandemic, because they've been around and they're doing well enough, they were able to donate lunches to the nurses and the doctors at the hospitals here. And they were able to do that because they're stable and they're thriving and they're a part of the fabric of the community. So that's why I say, building better communities through a focus of customer satisfaction. And, businesses, neighborhoods, cities, our countries, and the world can really thrive through a focus on customer satisfaction. So with that, I want to thank Dr. Neva for inviting me. Again, if you want to stay in touch, there's two ways that you can do that. One is I have a Facebook group where we basically focus on and highlight, building better communities through customer satisfaction. If you go to facebook.com/groups, and BBCTCS, which is for Building Better Communities Through Customer Satisfaction. If you go there, you're able to join the link and participate in that group. And also my website, I actually have a article that I wrote titled The Top 5 Killers to Customer Satisfaction, and it outlines 5 key areas in your business that you want to have control over so that you can guarantee the satisfaction of your customers. So on that note, thank you so much again, Dr. Neva. And if you or anyone else has any questions, you know, I'll stick around and answer them.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Chris. Really appreciate that. Got some insightful tips. Just some to the participants online or the attendees online, if you would like to ask a question verbally, your video will not be on, just audio. You can raise your hand and I will unmute you so that you can speak up. Again, don't worry, we will not see you, just in case you're worried about that. But if you want to ask your question, just raise your hands and I'll unmute. But on your side, you'll also have to unmute for me to hear you. That's one. Number two, if you have any questions, you could drop it in the chat box or Q&A, and I will read it if you don't feel like speaking. All right. So, Chris, I have I really appreciate the story with the dirty laundry. But the first thing that came to my mind is the owners of the laundromat, they're looking at the cost. Mm-hmm. So for them, you know, washing each clothing separately, I'm thinking, you know, washing, you know, each clothes separately is going to cost them more. Mm-hmm. So if you kind of maybe bundle 2 different groups, I don't know, together, maybe it will cost them less. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You know, so for those that are not aware, your first time seeing me here, I'm currently in Jamaica at this moment because I traveled from the States here for you know, take care of some business and stuff, and I got stuck. So, and the borders are closed. So I'm here, and my mom and I, she's decided to make masks. She's in the fabric business and she decided to make masks. And there's a customer that came to buy a dozen, and I came to help, and I decided to put the dozen mask in a plastic bag, and I got yelled at. Mm. And the reason I got yelled at, basically, it's wholesale. You don't give bags when someone's buying wholesale. They're supposed to come with their own bag. Mm-hmm. And I go, what? I'm looking at it like, okay, make the person happy, give them a bag. It doesn't cost much to just give them a bag, and, you know, they will come back. Yeah. You know, but they're like, no. And someone else that was here, another customer said, oh, that's the first world mentality. Yeah. Okay. And I just looked, I gave the bag, and I just walked away because I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And to me, that is so, you know, what are your thoughts on that?
You know, so your question about the laundromat, and I think it really comes down to, one thing is expectations. Yes, I mean, as I was saying, as you walk through, initially you want to suspend all your as a business owner, your hat of productivity and cost reduction and efficiency. Suspend that for a minute. Look from the customer's perspective as to their journey, and you know, look at what they're going to go through. Now, once you're done and you understand the customer's perspective, now you have to marry it up with, okay, but it's my business. And like I said about expectations, and maybe communicate, you know, for me personally, if I thought that they were washing my clothes with other people's clothes, if I knew that, or now that I think that, I wouldn't have gone. So I think it's just a matter of and I would pay more money for someone that advertises to me that we only wash your clothes by itself. That's me. I would pay them. I would pay that difference, and other people wouldn't, and so we would go to different places. I think it comes down to like what I'm saying is just understand the customer's journey, what their expectations are, and then you do what you want to do. But now at least you're communicating the expectations, and you're attracting the right customer, because the customer that doesn't want that is not going to come, and the one that wants that will. But once you put it out there on the table, then you'll attract and you'll grow your business based on customers who you're meeting their needs. And you don't have disgruntled people like me talking about other people's underwear.
All right. So we have a questionnaire for you, and it's from Mary. I'm very familiar with Mary, and I appreciate her being on the webinars so far. She's in Kenya, and her question to you, she said, very insightful and clear. Thank you. She says she's trying to figure it out how to apply the recommended model as a university teacher where the customers are my students, especially at this time when face-to-face learning is not practical.
So, and of course, I didn't go through everything. I went through very high level, but a part of this whole thing is you have to understand the environment that you're in, right? So one of the big things is, so that applies. So what are the regulations that apply, or what's the situation right now, nowadays, COVID-19, we have to social distance, right? We can't sit in a classroom. So those are givens, right? So with those realities, what are now the basic needs of students, And I don't know, but they need to effectively learn the curriculum. They want to have a pleasurable experience, so there's layers, there's certain things that, that make the situation, whether it's a regulation about your specific industry that prevents something, you can't do something a certain way, but once you get past those things, then you get down to the needs of your customer and making their experience, in the case of a school, I guess they don't really have much of a choice maybe or maybe they do, as to which school they might go to. But I think by focusing on their needs and what they absolutely should get out of that, then you could build your class and your curriculum and your presentation that you're doing. And even when I was putting this together, I have certain things that I would think, but I want to make sure that the people that are going to hear this, that's actually why I elaborated on what a customer means, because it's not just about a business transaction. Sometimes a customer is like a student. So I had actually adapted this presentation to that, because I felt that some of the people listening, that would be more applicable to them. So if that
Right. Thank you, Chris. I was also thinking, though, and you feel free to add to this. I'm thinking they're not face-to-face at the moment, so I assume they're virtual learning. So how can you still, give them like customer satisfaction in that sense? And I'm thinking maybe following up, making sure that they understand, because you're not face to face to really, give them certain explanation on topics or whatever that, knowledge that you're sharing to them. But you can just follow up, make sure they understand, give them a time, I'm going to be online another day, open office hours online.
Right.
So at that time, they can basically, ask any questions, or, all right, you could give me a phone call, but just during this time,
right?
So create an office hour offline, maybe, just by, phone call. I'm thinking that's another way to still let the students know that you're still there, to guide them, because I don't want to use the word help, because you're not, they have to learn, but just to guide them through whatever that, they need to learn. So that's my, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think when when you're open to it, you could get very creative at at ways that you could, again, end up satisfying what it is that they ultimately need. They need to do well in a class. They need to learn the curriculum, and you probably want to build, especially in this time. It's crazy. Some people are not as savvy on the computer. You might identify that during a class, or somebody that's a little slow. And so, like you said, if it's convenient for you, and you could set up, or even virtual office hours, maybe you create do a separate Zoom for them. I don't know if this is appropriate, but I'm just saying, when you think outside the box, you could recreate, and I think this is what, in general, what people are going to have to do is recreate the virtual version of the things that we used to do in the physical world. So whether it's office hours, and now they can't come to my office, but I could do a Zoom, a one-on-one, if it's appropriate, I could do a one-on-one Zoom with that student and help them for 5 or 10 minutes. So I think in general, we need to rethink how we do things, and since we can't physically be next to each other, but how can we still achieve the same goal, but now we just have to do it in a virtual world. And when we open up our minds, there's a lot of different ways that you can do that.
Sure. Thank you. Now, one of the things you mentioned is the restaurants. I know that you're familiar with restaurants and, customer satisfaction in that realm. Now, with restaurants have a span where they close down, and what I believe I've read in the past, maybe within 18 months to 3 years.
Yes.
Restaurants, don't necessarily survive. So what are some tips specifically you think you could give with the restaurants as far as customer service that they can continue doing business?
Now, you mean outside of COVID, right? Just in general.
In general, yeah, because right now,
yeah. I mean, I think, listen, the reasons why restaurants close is usually, the primary reason, they're not getting enough customers. There's not enough people, not just coming. It's one thing to get a customer and somebody come and buy food one time, but it's another thing when you can create an experience where somebody is, they loved it so much, they're telling their friends, they're going on all the platforms online and referring you. And so that one customer turns into 2. And if you're doing it right, that those 2 customers turn into 4, and so on. So I think the root of a lot of restaurants closing is really not having enough revenue, because they're not having enough customers coming in the door. And if you really focus on and develop a plan to satisfy that one customer, and then you multiply it, through their referrals and so on, I think that builds towards more of them being. I mean, if you look at your favorite restaurants, the ones that have been around a long time, more than likely, they have a well thought out way of making you feel good when you go there. The food is good, the atmosphere is good, and you just feel like it's your spot, it's your place, and you want to go back, and you definitely want to tell people. And those are the places that survive over the long term.
Thank you so much. When you said that, my mind ran on Bahrain, where I stayed for some time in the Gulf, and there's a friend of mine that I met there in Bahrain where there's just one restaurant, and I actually asked her once, "Do you have like stocks in this restaurant?" Because no matter what, that's her spot, and she brings others, and they know exactly what she wants, how she wants it, and everything. And she's like the marketer without being paid in that sense, because it's just so good, and she's so happy with the level of service. All right, Chris, I don't see any more questions, but I really thank you for sharing your knowledge. For those that the first time here, this recording will be on YouTube. I will send out an email when the video is up so that you can share it with others, because I believe this is a video that you would want to pass on to others with the information that was imparted. All right. So thank you all, and thank you, Chris, and everyone. Stay safe and have a great evening or night.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, we're just going to give it another minute for other individuals to sign in, and then we'll continue.
Okay.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, everyone.
It's just going to give it another minute, guys. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. I am Dr. Neva from Neva Alliance. As usual, if you're, new here, welcome and thank you for joining. If you've been here before, welcome also. Today is just another great webinar series, and this time it will be nethand, right? So we have Jessica with us, Jessica Sinclair, and she's going to talk about network like you mean it. So I'm just going to go over some housekeeping, how it's done here. Basically, Jessica will speak for some time, but give you some tips that she has about networking, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. You can either, one, drop your questions in the Q&A. You also have the chat. You can drop your question there, or you may raise your hand. If you raise your hand, I'm going to unmute you to speak if you raise your hand, right? If that happens, you also have to unmute yourself to speak as well, only if you raise your hand, all right? Other than that, you have the Q&A, all right? So Jessica, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to let Jessica do the honor of introducing herself and letting you know what she's all about and the information she has to share. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you so much to the platform, to yourself for seeing the value. It's an honor to be here. I'm so glad, Corinne, if you're listening, if you're there, thank you so much for the introduction to this queen. So yes, my name is Jessica Sinclair, and I am a cardiac specialty RN. I practice part-time. That was a decision that I made, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. I also have two platforms, Nurses of Integrity, where I empower nurses to fall back in love with the practice. I am the creator of this amazing platform, Network Like You Mean It, where you need to utilize skills strategically, and we'll talk about those tips later. I am also a board member of Fearless Women, and that is another empowerment group. So one thing you'll always find out or always know about me, it's about people first, community first, and I found that I had a lot of gifts that the bedside didn't allow for me to really fulfill my purpose. So again, I love healthcare. No shade to healthcare workers, but I think we all have something greater, something bigger that we have to contribute to our community for it to thrive. And so I love teaming up with platforms like the Alliance because it allows me to continue on the discussion to help my people get to that next level. So I hope you guys learn from me today, even if it's one thing where you can go tell a friend to tell a friend. I am also the best-selling author of Network Like You Mean It, A Nurse's Journey to Entrepreneurship and Purpose. And I'm just so glad for the support. So thank you. Click on the link. We'll put that later and grab that book, because storytelling really can change your life. So thank you again for having me. Am I going right in right now? Can I do my thing? Okay. Okay, perfect. So by the show of hands, I want to know how many persons have created a vision board, because I love vision boards, and I want to start out with that, because that's how you start mapping, right? Mapping where you want to go. So could I see a show of hands? Or doctor, could you tell me if anyone's raising their hand? Because I think the vision board is so important before you start navigating networking. It allows you to create the foundation and the vehicles. So one thing I realized before I knew I wanted to network, I wanted to know where do I want to go? Who do I want to connect with, and why? So the vision board allowed me to see these different images. I love images. I love the universe where you put something out there, you will receive it. That is a fact. You can take that to the bank, okay? You see it, you can execute it. So please, those of you who have not created a vision board for 2020, I do a vision board every 6 months because things change. With COVID-19, a lot of opportunities that I worked so hard for got, dismantled. So then I had to pivot with my vision board. Vision board should not be stressful. It, in fact, should be stress-free. You should be excited to see things manifest before it actually happens. Grab a cocktail, grab a glass of wine. So I wanted to start off with that, because the vision board will allow you to see where you want to go. Once I had established my...
Jessica, just want to say, Yannick raised her hand that she had a vision board. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Excellent, excellent. I love it, girlfriend. And before I talk about the first tip, also your vision board can really be on your phone. I love my phone. I screenshot things. There's words on my phone. I'm being very transparent right now with you guys. And so my vision board is on my phone. You can also do a vision board on a wall, if you will, where you're always there to see it. So once I created my vision board, I had to figure out what my why was, because life is always moving, because you're always stimulated by the news. First of all, I don't even have a TV. This is a fact of myself that I'm sharing, because I realized that reality TV, when I was starting in 2020, I started around 2016. The reality TV was just taking me away from that vision board. So I encourage you guys to watch TV in segments, but I digress. So my why has to be established, because you may be a mother, you may be a father, you may be a board member. The list can go on. So once you establish your why, and what that why means is, this is what I want. This is what I want to achieve. This is where I want to be. It may be for family. My why, if you hear my interviews, it's always the same. It's always to change my trajectory for my family, because they came here from Jamaica. I'm the only American born. So there was things that I knew I can probably have access to, because I'm the American child. And that is something that I do talk about a little bit more in depth in my book. It's that part is called The American One. You won't believe how differently I think compared to my siblings. I'm the youngest of 5. So I think that's something unique. So when you know your why, my dad's a cab driver. For me, it was like, okay, how am I gonna have vehicles that one day I can say, Dad, don't go to work anymore. Your why needs to be attached, guys, to something that has nothing to do with dollars. Because like COVID-19, like I told you, a lot of the things I secured dismantled. Why do I keep going on? I keep going on because I have such a solid why, that no matter what is going on around me, it will keep me on course. It will keep me on course to network like I mean it, because I can't go back, to where I was prior. I have to keep going on. The why will keep you so focused, guys, because it's like the boomerang effect. It'll always come back because you put it out there. Another example of a why could be financial literacy. You want to take more courses. So then you're going to align yourself with persons that teach that. Your why doesn't have to be, oh, I want to start a business tomorrow. I think a lot of people get that a little bit misconstrued. Your why is a motivational source, okay? So we need to establish that once the vision board is up there. The vision board is in your mind. Why? Why me? Why do I want this so bad? A lot of persons always say, oh my God, you're always on social. You're always posting something. Why? Because the community, I know they need this material. There's nights that I don't sleep. Honestly, I keep on going because of my why. One of the great things I love about the why process, I always have a notebook. This is a steno pad, a legal pad, but if I had my notebook, it says why on there. And at night, for me, guys, I'm more creative. Your body's at rest. The power of the body at rest. And this is a nurse talking in me right now, because you're going to get a lot of different Jessicas. That wellness piece, guys, is everything. And it took a while for me to understand that. Once you are calm, you'll notice that your why will look different sometimes based on how you feel. So I challenge you guys to go to the dollar store, get a notebook, and have it at your bedside or your night table or wherever. And so you'll see that your mood will change the why, but the why can't be shifted. When I say it can't be shifted, it's cement. It will keep you going. So I wanted to put that tip out there. The why has to be established, because as you network with persons, their time, their life, everything changes. So your why will keep you going steadfast, has to be established. One of the other things that I want to talk to you guys about is social media, because I know we may have a lot of different age groups watching, and I love my millennials. I'm on the cusp, as I love to say, but I always love to be surrounded by older persons. I think it has to do with me being the youngest, and there's such a big gap between us siblings. But I love you guys. I love the older person because you guys have the knowledge, but you're not showing it well on social media. By a show of hands, how many people are using social media to leverage their voice? We all have a story. It doesn't have to be, again, about a business. Storytelling allows people to learn more about you. I want to talk about 2 social media platforms. I'm not going to talk about Facebook in this particular discussion. I want to talk about platforms where nobody kind of knows you. Facebook is like your friends, your family. I want to talk about Instagram right now and LinkedIn. The reason why this is tip number 2 is because once I know my why, I have to make sure that I'm showing the world who I am in the best light, in the best way possible before I even get to network, right? You have to understand that we're building this foundation by foundation. So Instagram is a great vehicle because hashtag is king, okay? And if you want to see, I'm going to use a financial expert, the financial literacy expert. If you want to know where John Brown is at your next event, you have to use the hashtags that John Brown uses. And I think that my older population, they still don't get it. And you guys are our resources. So I need you guys to rise to the occasion because I need your help. Michelle needs your help, and I think you guys are doing a disservice out there because you're not rising to the occasion. So I need you guys to go to your Instagram search, and I'm going to do this right now just because I love visualization. I'm going to turn this around. So for instance, you're going to go to your Explorer page. Oh, the glare. And on your Explorer page, you have the option to hashtag. You have the option, to put in a message. So if I put financial literacy here, you're going to hit the hash. It says tags. This, I know there's a glare, but go on Instagram, get an Instagram account today. It's free. It's going to allow you to build the tribe up and also see what the experts are saying. They're using Instagram because it works. If you are on Instagram, there's so many persons. Pay me to be your social media manager. People are making millions of dollars right here at their home, right here at their table, because they're leveraging the hashtags. So if you're putting a picture up, guys, on social media, This is a woman here who's a nurse. This is my Nurses of Integrity page. She looks great. Okay, this young lady has 400 likes. I'm not chasing a like. I'm telling you guys right now. What I am doing is showing you the quality. Okay, so again, before you even want to network like you mean it, you got to clean up your social media, because this is your storefront. If you have a website, okay, is it a Wix website? And I'm not, no shade, but you had that the first year. My first year I had a Wix. My second year, if you see where I'm going here, I had my own website built. You have to continue to build up where you're at. You can't stay at the free Wix page forever, because we're in a society where people are looking at that. They may not even work with you. And I'm being honest, because as I go around different communities, these are the things they tell me. They're like, oh my God, you have your own copyright at your website? I'm like, who cares? They're like, it matters. So one thing I love to do is give you guys real life experiences, if you will. So back to the Instagram. Look at this lady's lighting. I'm seeing a lot of Gen X's lighting. It's terrible. I'm going like this. I'm swiping up. I'm no longer engaged. This is real. You guys have so much to offer. Clean up your social media. You also have filters that, and I'm going to do a social media webinar. I would love to come back here to do that, because it takes more time. But guys, look at this other woman's picture. It's like you want to hug her. You want to go into the photo. It could be like you at your desk like this. Serious face. I need you guys to realize this is money here for you. This is even opportunity. And when I say money, I should probably rephrase that. This is opportunity. Opportunity comes from all different ways. It may not be money. It may be pro bono work. But some of you guys are missing opportunities because your social media does not look right. This is Instagram. Follow for a follow. But for the most part, what I get out of Instagram is connecting with like-minded persons. I think a comment is coming in. Okay, perfect. So this is something where you can also DM. DM is magical. DM is where you go into somebody. I'm sorry, it's kind of warm here in New York. I don't know where everyone is. The fro, I'm being real right now, is shrinking, honey. You guys know me. I keep it real. Okay, how do I go into DM? Fair question. I'm acting like, you guys are asking me, right? You hit the house, because I see my Gen X's. I love you guys. You hit the house, right? This is like a, what do you call it? An airplane that you throw in the air. This is king. This is how you can talk to someone about a post. Conversation is everything, especially during COVID. And you say, hey, so nice to meet you. You're still going to be professional in that space. You won't have a header like an email. But Gen X's, we don't want to really talk to you via email. We want it now. We want to talk to you now. I think you guys have to shift your mindset. And you're going to say, hey, Jessica, I love that post. Any way we can talk in the next few days, and then we'll talk, then that gives me the play to say, okay, phone call or email. But I think a lot of you guys want to go for the email. We're not responsive because we're on Instagram. You have to go where the people are. So those are my tidbits on social. Great lighting, hashtag accordingly, no more than 10 to 15 hashtags, or else they will report you to spam, and use the DM. This is a real repost today. Someone asks, hey, could you repost my flyer? Absolutely. Absolutely. Why? Because it shows I care. And if I have something upcoming, she's going to remember that. He's going to remember that. I have a product, whatever it is. Utilize social media like your life depends on it. There's also platforms that can help you. Write this down. I think I can type it here. It's Planoly. Can I type it? Yeah. Planoly. It's P-A-A. Let me look at it, guys. Planoly. P-A-N-O-L-Y. Planoly. That is a service that is free, and it will help you strategize your Instagram, and it can also auto post. Woo! Auto post. Because I was in the OR and I'm like, oh my God, Janie wants me to post her wedding and I can't respond. Auto post. Auto post will save you time. Nobody will know. Trust me, I'm going to close out this box. Okay. Auto post. So every Wednesday, you're giving a suggestion, a tip. These things help you. Also, before I move on to LinkedIn really quick. You also have an app called Face app. It will brighten up your face for you. If you're like, oh my God, Jessica, this is all the lighting I have. Press the button. It is Face app. You hit it, they're like, oh girl, who did your makeup, Face app? Nobody will know because they're not there. They're not with you. They didn't know I didn't organically post this app. So I'm just gonna have a quick sip of water. Cause I get fired up, y'all. I love this stuff. And so that is how you leverage Instagram. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is dubbed the professional Instagram, if you will. How many people are rocking their LinkedIn profile? LinkedIn has seminars called Rock Your Profile. Stay tuned because I just got a DM from a LinkedIn Rock Your Profile expert who said to me, I love everything that you're doing. Now, if I wasn't who I am, I could have took it as a negative, right? Let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I hired a marketing expert. I thought she rocked my profile, but this woman saw something in me. She goes, would you mind if I scan your profile? And I could have been like, sis, no, I already paid somebody, which I said, I did pay somebody. Darn it, did she not do a good job? She goes, no, she did a great job, but I want to uplift you some more. Guys, for the past 2 weeks, the messages that I'm getting from my LinkedIn, because I was able to receive this lady's message in a good way, taught me tools that I'm going to teach you right now. So, and this is what's so great about people wanting to collaborate. Now, remember, we're only on social media tips, so I got a lot more goodies for you guys. LinkedIn, no matter what you're doing, no matter if you're an entrepreneur, you have to leverage LinkedIn. Somebody did business with you, ask them for a recommendation. Did anyone know that you can message someone? It's already ready for you, like our autofill. Send me a referral, send me a recommendation. That means to say people love great feedback. So I worked with Kim over the weekend. Kim gave me a dynamic review. I never knew about that prior. If she didn't say, could I help you rock your profile? She said, have you ever been interviewed before? I'm like, yeah, it's on my website. She goes, why is it not linked here? So I just want to show you guys really quick. If I had my bigger screen, I would have showed you guys. Now, this is my, okay, maybe like this. Okay, this is kind of my LinkedIn profile. I think a lot of people here are missing the call to action here, right? Give me some things about you that tell me what you do, but give me some personality. So for me, before Kim hollered at me, I said, I am the go-to girl, ... Kim said, okay, but you're passionate. Every video I've seen so far, it exudes passion. I need to see that. I'm a passionate BSNRN, public speaker, best-selling author, period. Then the about gives them more meat and potatoes. Oh, I thought I thought you wanted to say something to me. So I think a lot of people are putting too much in their profile part. You need to build that suspense up in the about. Also, are you sharing other people's articles on LinkedIn? You're missing out on someone else's audience. Let me say that again. Just like the DM. Can you repost my photo? Absolutely. All week, there's a movement with Black Lives Matter, and it's the year of the nurse. What do I have to lose? Helping someone else get more traction. And then they'll go on my page, and I was like, oh, wow, who was Jessica Sinclair? Guys, the one thing, and I think that, if you don't remember all of these tips, which I hope you guys have your pen and paper, collaborative is everything. If that's the only thing you remember today, sharing is caring. You have to do it. We were not taught that, okay? And this is not about a black and brown conversation. I'm just saying right now, as a brown woman, we have to do better. We have to do better, okay? So your LinkedIn profile, you have to rock it. Again, a strong photo. I don't want to see anyone's LinkedIn with their generic. It used to be that they just gave you like a web. Invest in this. Canva.com. Let me put this in. Change your life. Canva. They have templates, guys, ready for you guys. For any, I see, all right. It helps. But no one taught you guys this. You know what I mean? And so you guys are losing opportunities. Let me hit the close button. So spruce this up a bit. You guys see my face with the mic? You guys can't tell me nothing, right? Not you guys, but this is how I have to walk around with life. Like, you can't tell me anything, because guess what? I'm up to standard. I'm up to standard, and I invest in my social media. So your social media has to be ready before you network, guys, because remember, you get that one opportunity. I'm like, oh gosh, this guy, they don't know what they're doing. Put articles here. It says featured. Again, there may be another opportunity here on this platform or on Network Like You Mean It for me to teach social media. So my next tip, and should I check some questions, or we'll go back after? Okay. She's like, no, girl, continue. So my next tip, we're going to put tip number 3 for this. This is research, okay? This is research. This is something that it's such a part of me. I was always a researcher, but you need to know who the people are that you want to connect with. It really can't be about, oh my God, they have 100 likes, I want to connect. Anytime I go into a room, guys, let me tell you something. I may know more about you, maybe kind of creepy, but I want to show off. I want to show you guys that what you talked about in your last article, your last speaking engagement, it resonated with me. And I'm not saying don't lie. If it didn't, don't say it. But when I come up to, let's say, Yasmin, who's tuning in, and I say, Yasmin, you did a great article. You're probably going to say, oh yeah, which part? Be ready to have that open dialogue. Research persons that you want to connect with. Know a little bit about something they did in the last 3 months. Trust me, you will see a difference. People love to get their ego stroked. They love to feel empowered. Empower them. And it should be easy. The skills that I'm teaching you here, I want it to become easy for you guys. And you have to apply them, right? So when I research a person for an event, I research my top 5. So if there's a panel, you best believe I'm on Instagram, and I'm saying, all right, there's 5 panelists. Okay, I'm very strategic with networking. This is a strategic tip. All right, so there's 5 of them. There's probably 30 people coming to the event. I'm going to have a top 5, and I'm going to know a little bit about each person, because somebody may get to Michelle before me. All right, so now I have Joni. Now, what I do is, because clearly I'm not going to have my big old pad with me, I'm going to screenshot everyone's bio really quick. LinkedIn. So we're going to go, this is why LinkedIn is so great, because 9 times out of 10, guys, let's see here. Featured part, like here's some articles. Now, y'all probably think I had this all year, 2 weeks ago. And she was like, oh my God, how'd you change everything so quick? Because I took heed to her instruction. Look at all my articles. So what I would do is I would screenshot Michelle's article. Boom. I love screenshot. I think Android has it. And then I hit save. So now I'm in the ladies' room or in the parking lot, and I'm gonna skim it before I go, because you know how the mind works, you may forget. So you screenshot when you're researching people, have the top 5 people that you want to connect with, because you may not connect with them all. You notice I said top 5. I think a lot of people are overwhelmed at a networking event because they don't know who to connect with. Pick 5, watch them, see where they're moving, because again, somebody else they didn't take my class, so they may be hovering, they may be talking to them too long. So carve out 5 people that you always want to speak with at the networking event, but this is under research because you need to know a little bit about them besides, hi, how are you? Do you like this event? You need to have substance, guys. Even when people come up to me, they say, oh, I like this, your Nurses of Integrity platform. I'm like, okay, somebody's paying attention. And LinkedIn allows that for you. LinkedIn does all the work for you because they have these vehicles that can help you to see the latest article. All right, so pick your top 5 people, use the screenshot to get the latest on them. That way you're not like, oh my God, I forgot. Also, know why you want to connect with them. What value could you get with them as you build this relationship? Because let's say they say to you, can we do coffee? And you're like, well, why did I connect with them in the first place? That's not good. You just wasted that time and they won't trust you again. So this is why I want you to carve out, let's say the event is on Tuesday, over the weekend, you should figure out why you want to meet with them. How can they uplift you? Okay. And this segues to the 4th tip, which is collaboration. Collaboration is the new currency. Collaboration is king. I didn't understand collaboration until I was trying to connect with people. And they're like, oh, well, could you do this pro bono? And in the beginning, I'm like, no, I cannot. I can, because now I'm in their network where I didn't have access to. Collaboration allows you to show your skills. It allows you to show your worth without getting a check. This is something that I can scream at the mountaintops because I love it. I love collaboration, and I was totally transparent just now. In my first year, I was chasing the bag. I was chasing dollars. And although I was doing a lot of free events, I just wanted to be paid to feel fulfilled. But I said, Jessica, you know what? You got to creep before you walk. You know you're the bomb MC, but people have to see what you bring to the table. Black and brown people don't want to collaborate. And I couldn't fault myself because I wasn't taught that. It is true. I have a girlfriend she is actually from Asia, and they collaborate all the time. Here's my word, this is why they are kings and queens of retail. They give everybody the source. Go here for this. We're not doing that. We're not doing that because nobody taught us. Collaboration, reposting, hashtagging, showing up, showing your expertise on a topic. That's collaboration. Saying to me, Jessica, I know Canva really well. Let me do your flyer for you. And then now I'm going to hashtag her or at this company. That's collaboration. I think a lot of us as a small business, we put too much on our shoulders. We don't got it. So it's not going to happen. Photographers, I love them because they're always looking for new things to take pictures. I collaborate with a lot of photographers. I sure do, because they're looking for a subject and I need my pictures done. So collaboration is king. We have to share more. We have to share more. And that's going to show you as an expert. Okay. So again, we talked about defining your why. We talked about social media so far. We talked about research and collaboration. So once I collaborate with you, now we have to follow up with each other. So this is tip number 5. When you're going to follow up. So put follow up. We are taking too long still to this day to follow up with people. If you don't follow up with me in 2 days, I'm gone. Because I'm just so busy at this point. I don't know about you guys, but to me, it's like you lost interest. You lost interest in what we talked about. Follow up in 2 to 3 days, and it could be brief. Saying, hi, Jessica, it was a pleasure. I love talking to you about A. One thing about me is when I'm in the room, I try to take one word or one subject that we talked about because that helps me later. So I stand out, and I said, you know what? Maybe you had a radiant red shirt. I said, by the way, red works for you. You know, stuff like that in that follow-up email, game changing. You're not going to be too fluffy and fake, but you want to help someone feel comfortable. And I think with the follow-up in 2 to 3 days, you'll remember things that you guys spoke about. Your email should be tight. It shouldn't really say, I'm just trying to think on top of my head. And I think this is pretty generic. It was nice meeting you at the Network Like You Mean It workshop. I like that one because it told me right then and there where we met. Good morning. I get this to this day. Good morning, how are you? I'm like, is this Trisha, my sister? I think what's going on. And not that my sister would email me, you never know. Be strategic with that subject email. It was a pleasure meeting you at such and such event. Hi, Jessica. Hope all is well today. Can I have 2 minutes of your time? You want to grab a busy person in that subject. It can't be too like we're good friends already, or you don't really care about that subject email. You have to care about it because that's when they open it. Also, in the follow-up conversation at the event, I don't leave and follow up not knowing what your platform is or how you like to follow up. Let me rephrase that. Before I leave you at that event, I said, by the way, which do you prefer? Do you like the email? Should I call your line? Should I DM you? I mean, yes, it's a lot to ask, but then that wastes my time. Because what if email wasn't your premier way to be contacted? Strategic. You cannot fool around with networking because time is currency. You have to know what you're asking. Make them accountable. You know, in the email you said, you know, by the way, does Tuesday still work for you? Sometimes if, the conversation's going great, I may ask them what day of the week is best for them. I want them to give me as much information. So when I'm ready to fire off, nothing's going to stop me because you guys gave me this green light. So 2 days, I'm done with the 3-day follow-up unless it's a weekend. If it's a Friday, I wouldn't, Saturday and Sunday, I really wouldn't do it. But that Monday morning, you best believe I am in that email. So follow up 2 to 3 days, have a strong email subject rather, and always ask them what their preference is. It's going to save you a lot of time.
Thank you so much. Wow, that was some knowledge.
Thank you.
The passion definitely there. Wow. By the way, I'm in Florida, but I know I'm on the AC, so it's a little different at the moment. I know. Oh my gosh, you have some good comments. So here it is. When you were talking, of course, I was making notes. And again, guys, if you have any questions, this is the time to jot it in. I'll also review some of the comments that came in, and we so appreciate it. A few years ago, I remember watching a TV program, and the artist, Shaggy, made a statement, and I'm looking at him like, oh, he's a millionaire, he is making money, and I like his music. And he stated, a lot of young people don't realize a lot of his shows, they're free.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Again, this is some years back. He said they're free because it's a platform for people to know about him.
Right.
All right. So it's different things. So you're surprised that there's some people, although he's popular, don't know who he is. Right. And if it's a big platform and they say, hey, can you do this? He will, because guess what? He may not directly get money from, the show, but he will get money from the people that's listening to him. All right. So I just want to say about that, but you said, what do I have to lose to get in more traction? When you said that, that's what I recall. Also, collaboration is king. And I noticed Dr. G, she made a comment, and she was a part of the conference that I did where the topic was leveraging and collaboration. It's great, but some of us forget about it sometimes. We collaborate, or we try to, and we drop the ball for some reason. All right, so I'm gonna give you a question on my end, and then I'm going to look into the chat box and see the questions coming. Yeah, you have a lot there. So my question, you mentioned you have 2 different businesses, right? Or 2 different. How do you promote both of the businesses when you're networking?
So this is such a great question because I don't want to overwhelm. Depending on where I'm at, I have one hat. Then as we build a relationship, it will organically show the different businesses that I have. So I stick to one. So if I'm at a nursing networking event, I'm going to lead with nursing. If I'm at the wedding expo, I am the MC. And so I let the environment dictate what I will say as who I am. And that is a great question. I've met people. I'm a baker, a kitchen. I'm like, I don't know, you know what I mean? So we have to make it easy for them to get to know us. I would say pick one title, and then later on, as we're building slowly, organically, you guys will see what else I have to offer.
Yeah, thank you for that. Next, it's COVID, right? I mean, it doesn't feel like it this week or last week because of what have happened, but it's still there. But you don't have physical events. So how do you network right now?
That's a great question. So if you had signed up for my newsletter, which you haven't yet, I did a piece on social distancing during COVID times. And this is one of the biggest things that I talked about was leveraging social media. Okay, commenting on different posts. And it has to be organic and authentic. So if I have a post on a topic, that's your opportunity for someone to see your name and see what you wrote. Now they're going to click on your page. That's how dialogue starts. Also, signing up for workshops like this. we didn't get to ask persons, you know, how they know you. Who do they know? Opportunity right there. They may be an investor tuning in, and somebody did a quick intro or said a quick comment. Now they're linked. It happens all the time where I meet people through seminars like this, and we're good friends in the next few years. We need to maximize offers. We need to maximize the things that are being that are happening. Also, what you can do is be an expert about a topic. What are you doing right now? I mean, and I say that in a nice way because some people are using this time on it, obviously, to get whole again, to grieve, you know. But maybe you have a YouTube page where you're going to give tips on something. This is your time to show off and use this platform to get other people involved. So if you have a passion about saving the animals, you need to write a newsletter. If you have a passion about, like I'm going to use that again, saving the whales, talk about it on a YouTube page. We have platforms that are not being used by us, people of color. There are resources here for us to connect. You need to join social groups, and the social groups that I joined are very diverse. Some of them, so there's two reasons why to join a group. A, you want to learn more. B, you want to take whatever you have to the next level. And those are the two reasons why I join groups. So I may have a group on Facebook that's more about activism, and then there may be a group that's about book writing, because maybe somebody will inspire me to write again. So I think that we need to join some groups on social media. Facebook is really great for that. Instagram, no. You can do LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn, they may have it's private groups though. I like Facebook. I didn't get to mention, no shade to Facebook. I kind of left them out, but that was a great question. Facebook groups are very great. And these groups that I'm in for my book, they're just reposting away because it reflects who I am. It's like Black Girl Book Club. No brainer there. So use social media, join some groups, comment in platforms. Just don't sit there and just take everything in. You may meet your next investor by just making a comment.
Yeah, definitely. Yasmin stated that, yes, that is so true. You must clean up your Instagram social media platform.
Absolutely.
So when you say clean up, do you think there's certain things that should be deleted?
Yes.
Or,
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you made a comment about my different platforms. Every platform has a different page. I have my personal page where it's Sinclair the Great, and that's me and my family. Okay, now if it's a holiday like Mother's Day, you know, you may see Miss Sinclair come on it's Jessica, it's Jessica Sinclair's page, you know. So I think when I say clean up, you want to have photos that resemble your brand. And again, this is not really a branding forum, but do you have a quote that you can talk about versus a picture of you with alcohol in your hand? How many times are you taking a shot in a photo? That's inappropriate to me. I don't want to talk to you. And it's sad for some people for me to say that, but it's realistic. Companies do not want to work with somebody that's taking 10,000 shots in their photos. Okay, are you dressing risque? I mean, I see some of these women, unless that's your platform, but I see some people that are just sloppy. Again, that's why I showed you those two women who nailed it. They're about angles. You know, are you taking a photo from the waist up? This is all strategic when you are posting on social media. What does your picture say about your brand? It's very serious. And it's so serious, guys. People are making millions of dollars being social media managers. It's a real job.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I think you do a great job at that too.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying. I'm working on it. I really am. There's days I'm like, but I have to keep up with my audience. And I think that's what it is. You have to be consistent. I can't hear from you Monday and then 2 months ago, hey, I'm here. No, this is why, I wanted to say this too. Carve out 3 days. You don't have to post every day. I think that people are overly sharing, right? So for me, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday right now. So I have time to breathe. Remember, I gave you guys a great app, Planoly, right? And there's others. The list goes on. But have your time. And as you start building your audience, you'll see when your audience is liking stuff or talking to you.
Yeah, thank you for that. I know Dr. G mentioned she always tell people, to have that vision board. That's what I'm reading. Vision boards are a marketing plan. That is so true and must be flexible and live. As for social media, we have to be where our audience are and all platform. Yes, yes, definitely agree. Have that vision board, but unfortunately, I think I had to revise my few times this year
Yeah.
because of COVID.
That's
But
Yep. That's what I said. And it's not unfortunate, it's just life, right? So that's what I said, do a vision board that may be more short term. I didn't mention that before. And then you can have that long term one. I think a lot of people focus on the long term and they miss life. They miss the opportunities that are right here for next 6 months. Every 6 months, I'm revisiting my vision board. I have to, because the way how I feel about my business will change. The way I feel about society changes. So I want us to plan a little bit more short term going forward.
yes, yes. Now you mentioned something, and I was just like laughing to myself. I'm glad it was on mute because I probably would have interrupted you. Um, I remember, because I do these different conferences and stuff, and there was a lady that sent me her profile
Mm-hmm.
to be a speaker. And I'm going to say this out loud now, so I apologize if I offend anyone, but it's just being her profile. Her website was a free website, Wibbly or something
Yeah.
like that. And I put her profile aside.
Yeah.
She could have been great, but that's what I'm looking at. It's not like how you're telling me you're this great advisor, how much money you make. You're going to speak to an audience who's going to take you as an expert or an authority in your field, but you have a free website.
Yeah.
And could I have spoken to her? Yes, but I didn't know her like that. So I just put it to the side and kept on moving. So that is something, you upgrade. You don't have to keep the free Wix or Weebly or whatever website you have, And I did not know the 4 to 15 hashtags. So thank you for
Yes.
that information.
Yes.
Yeah. So more than that, they're going to think it's spam.
Yeah, it'll say spam, and so your post people won't really see it because it will be Instagram. They're getting more strict, but they will report you as spam, and that particular photo won't get seen to the masses. So also a great trick too. You also, and I just wanted to share this, I think that we should sometimes, of course you're at an event, explain the event, but I think we need to be a little bit more strategic with what we're putting under the photos. So I just want to show you guys something, which I love doing this because it gives more, the glare. Okay, so I have a post here. I put 2 dots. Some people put stars. So it breaks up what I'm trying to say, give you guys some space. Then I do my hashtags here. These are my hashtags. Or guys, sometimes I put my content and then I put my hashtags in the comments. So it looks visually more appealing. So it's not, oh my God, it's like so much. So put whatever you want to write. Put 3 dots, dot, enter, or some people put stars, whatever it is, or microphones if you're a speaker, and then have the hashtags. I can tell you right now, currently, I don't do more than 10 hashtags. But if I want to do 15, I put it in my comments. So I do my post, and then I hit comment, and then I put the hashtags. It's just visually better, and I realize people nowadays, they're not reading left to right. I don't know how I know this. They're reading down. So these are the little things I love to research. I'm weird. I'm a researcher, but I realize people are not really reading left to right anymore. They're reading down.
That's interesting. That's interesting to know. Jessica, thank you. You're a ball of energy, and you could see in the chat, excellent. My loyal from Kenya is logged in again. She says, excellent too. Thanks. Great tips. Keep dropping them. Jules. Yes, Jessica. It's Jasmine. All right. So I assume that's how you said it. So
Yes.
just
Yes.
that way. All right. Thank you so much. we will have another webinar coming up, and I'm hoping that, you know, you'd love to do another webinar on this platform. And guys, I have no more questions, but this video will be up on the YouTube channel, and I'll do an email blast once it's up. All right, well, thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jasmine.
Oh, hi, Jasmine. Oh, my God. Hi, Jasmine. Okay, how do I get Jasmine? Because I have a Yasmin and I have a Jasmine. Yes. Hey, girl. Just, you know, let's keep having this discussion. Let's support each other. Let's share flyers, content. I am having, depending on when this is aired, but for those of you that are here today, I'm having a confidence boosting workshop this Saturday, 1 to 2. And if you go on my it's Jessica Sinclair Instagram, you'll see the ad. Click on the link and come invest in yourself.
Thank you. Actually, before you go, your book.
Yes, the book, which I don't have near me, but you can get it on Amazon. It is Network Like You Mean It, A Nurse's Journey to Entrepreneurship and Purpose. It is a collaborative book, which I love collabs. 30 amazing nurses talking about how they started at the bedside and advanced to entrepreneurism. And it's not only for nurses. I want you guys just to forget that we're nurses. Understand that we started somewhere, and here we are today. So it's for everyone, a college grad, support, and I would love to do this again.
All right. Thank you so much,
guys.
Jessica. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Please be safe and enjoy the rest of the day or night. Bye-bye.
Bye.